So welcome in this last module of this Azure Node.js migration to Azure course, where I already talked about in the outro of the previous module. This is all about monitoring your applications, starting with application insights. One of those Azure services that anyone should deploy whenever you're monitoring, managing applications. So I'm going to cover what application insights is, and then enabling application insights for our Node.js web app and showing you the output of that. What is application insights? Application insights is, in my opinion, the go-to application service layer that allows you to monitor your applications. It gives you viewing and analyzing capabilities for any logging information related to your applications. It allows you to create and share dashboards, and I'll show you later on in a quick demo. Besides real-time information, it also gives you capabilities to archive monitoring data to retrieve like what happened 3 months ago, 6 months ago, more than a year ago. Finding and diagnosing runtime issues, diagnosing performance issues, for example, and overall monitoring your application health. And besides that, those were like the built-in out-of-the-box dashboards, but you can also extend with your own custom KPI dashboards if you want. Now, although Application Insights is running as an Azure service, it doesn't block you from monitoring hybrid environments. So important to keep in mind is that it's not just for Azure application services, although that's the demo I'll be doing later on. You can extend your application code to integrate Application Insights, no matter where it's running, on-prem, in another public cloud, in Azure Stack, or obviously in Azure Cloud itself. And if you're wondering if it's only for application services, even better, it's not. If you're running web services, application servers within virtual machines, like an IIS web server, for example, then the only thing you need to do is deploying what's called an Application Insights connector, providing the Application Insights key, and from there on, your application will start pushing out monitoring metrics into the App Insights running as an Azure service. And just showing you some diagrams, and as you already know from the previous modules, I'll quickly jump to a couple of demos. But the first step is deploying App Insights as the service that's generating a unique key for that application insight object. And once you reuse that key, like providing it to your application, and I'll show you how, for the Node.js application at least, then after a couple of minutes, it starts providing output. Out of the box without doing anything else, no custom dashboards. Everything is provided just as is, but nothing blocking you from making customizations. Like, as you can see here, a failed request, server request, overall server response time, or extending it with an application map. And I'll walk through some capabilities in the demo there. Besides that, it also gives you a full-blown out-of-the-box dashboard that literally looks like the one I'm using here in the screenshot. That's providing you capabilities to drill down on overall application usage, like the amount of sessions, the number of users connecting, the failed requests, responsiveness, reliability, the application map, and feature called Smart Detection. That's going to help you in troubleshooting your environment. And if you want, then you can also drill down on specific failures and finding out all the way down to the specific HTTP actions that happened, like in this example here, generating HTTP GET that's providing a failure with HTTP error 404, and all that information can just be retrieved out of the box without doing any customizations whatsoever. Like continuing here with a 404 message, it's literally mapping you like what is the root cause, any dependencies, any delays in connectivity, and next to that in the related items, as you can see, it's going to try and help you in fixing that specific problem. So that's in short what Application Insight can help you with. So the next step obviously is deploying Application Insights. And it's really a 2, if you want, 3-step scenario. The easy step is creating Application Insight resource, adding your Application Insight instrumentation key, like some kind of security credential if you want, that connects your application with Application Insights. And that's the only thing you have to do. So you deploy the App Insights resource using the portal, using PowerShell, using Azure command line you already know. Any way is a good way. And once you have your App Insights instrumentation key, Depending a bit on the language, like the development language of the application, the snippet of code is a little bit specific for each development language, but the overall concept is really 2 steps and it starts working. So let me show you what this looks like in real life. So starting like all the other Azure resources we created already is creating the application insights resource. You provide some basic information about like a unique name, like a Node.js app insight, what application type it needs to support, like the Node.js is in here, any generic application, some specific code for Java or the Microsoft.NET framework, in what Azure resource group and location you want to run that specific resource, and that's pretty much it. So I already did that part of the step just to speed up the demo a little bit. And the output is this, where if I'm back with a couple of days back to just show you some details, and you can already recognize the screenshots I was using for building the PowerPoint deck. And that's really what comes out of it, like the amount of server requests, the availability, how many users are connecting, or drilling down on application components. And you already know that my application is a 2-tier application, where I'm using the web service frontend and a MongoDB in the backend. Now from here, besides giving me that application map, it immediately allows me to drill down and get details about that specific component, like how many issues with my database. It generated 8 issues where I can drill down and down here, and even checking back the specific execution that happened, where it's going to check on the dependency MongoDB, integration with the web service, where connecting using my admin client. And from here, I can easily pinpoint like what is the root cause, what happened, like most probably some mistake with a password, for example, in the credentials of my admin user, or even getting a timeline, like what happened right before that step and right after that step. And that's really going to help you in troubleshooting, like why is a web server not performing anymore? Or even if somebody launches like a database query and the output is not the expected behavior, then application insights can help you in really allocating the root cause of that problem. And again, all this comes out of the box. So you deploy application insights as a service, and from there it starts generating information. Key component is obviously finding that integration between your application and the application insights backend. So what you have once you create application insights as an Azure resource is this instrumentation key. And that's really your security certificate, if you want, that you need to provide to your web application. Now remember in the web app demos earlier, where we had an advanced toolkit called Kudu. And one of the things we can do there is live editing the source files of our Azure web app running code. So I don't need to make the changes on my local development station, pushing out the code again to Azure, although there wouldn't be anything wrong with that. But what I can do from here is opening up a bash command line interface for that specific web app. And here it allows me to connect to my site, if I know how to type correctly. And inside the site folder, I have my wroot. And if we check back here, you're going to recognize the source files where our application started like 4 hours ago. So that's opening up. And next to that, what you can do here is, or editing the server file, like using the Linux VI would be a good option. It's going to take a couple of seconds before it's actually showing you that code. So it looks like it's timing out, but it just needs some process in the backend to actually show you the content. Or if you don't want to edit the files from here, then you can also use the web app application settings, where we create a setting name called App Insights Instrumentation Key, where we just copy that key file information, saving the settings, restarting the web app, and that's pretty much it. So let me try to run this again. It runs better from SSH console, but I'm pretty sure if you're a little bit familiar with Linux, then you know what I'm talking about here. So I go to my home folder and let's try this again. That's much better. So what you need to provide here are these 3 lines of code where I'm creating a variable app insights, where I'm forcing my server.js file when it starts up to pick up the application insights binaries. And the setup for app insights is based on this instrumentation key. And that's pretty much it. Now, if you're already deploying the web app like we did before out of a previous module, you need to add another command on top of your deployment, and that's installing the application insights, where you can already guess if I'm leaving this editor. What you can do here is running npm. So really live from within this Kudu troubleshooting monitoring environment. And the command you need to use is npm install to install the binary. And the binary is called or the package at least is called insights, like this. And that's going to add the application insights components within my application. And again, this is all live from within the Azure web app that's already running. So installing npm install application insights, editing the code using the VI option that I showed you, or using the Azure application settings, restarting the web app, and after a few minutes, it starts generating those nice looking dashboards. And that's all it takes to get App Insights working for your Node.js applications.